Improvisational tools that we can use easily without too much number crunching, and that are very effective. Now, I've put space up front because space is one of the most underrated of them all, and yet it's one of the most useful of them all. Think of Miles Davis, less is more, all that type of stuff. So anyway, I'm going to get my notes because I'm sick of trying to memorize these things. It takes me forever, and it's much easier just to read the notes to you and get everything across. Encourage the use of rests. So what we're going to do is repeat some lines, but use less notes. We're going to discuss the value of concise playing. Now, we'll do that now to get your ideas out there without too much scramble of notes, without too many words. It's a great way of getting your soloing going. So be concise in your lines. You don't have to immediately start off with lots of flowing scales, arpeggios and flash stuff. You can just start with one or two notes. And as we're talking about teaching improvisation and we're talking about getting people going, you know, the basic part of improvisation, don't worry too much about harmony. Just find some notes that you like. So we're going to use 3 pieces to show these ideas. The pieces are just based on pieces that you can find. Any of these anthologies, I use classics to modern, but there's plenty of Royal Schools make them, Trinity make them. They all do, you know, and they're a great way of getting into music. But a lot of them have passages that's easy to see the harmony and just pick some notes or some fun stuff. Or, of course, you've got the notes that are playing over the top. That's the first thing I'm going to show you. Space is one of the most neglected tools in our improvisational bag of tricks. Oh, I do like that, but I wrote it myself. Yet it is a most useful tool. Sparseness, eking out the lines so as we don't give the audience the whole story first up. That's so important. You know, keep them guessing, keep them waiting. You might have something really important to say, which I'll show you, I've shown you actually. I've done that. Typical of me, I've already done it. I'm just talking about it now. Which I'll show you in how you can make a line that's really spectacular, how you can start it off much smaller and eke it out. Make an economy of your ideas. Space gives the listener some time to absorb your story. I reckon that's really important. Yeah, by not speaking, you had a chance to think about what I just said. And that's really important when you talk to people and, you know, you're communicating a story. So make your line and give a little breath. So as the person that hears what you had to say can think, oh, did they like that? Oh, that was good. I wonder if he's going to do that again. All that type of stuff. Space creates that anticipation. And it will give an opportunity for the listener to hear that line, the note, the chord, and so often, you know, a well-placed chord and just space around it. So as they can think, oh, that was nice. So that is what we're going to do. Now, the actions that we're going to do on the next part of this video will be basically taking improv 2, then improv 1, playing them, introducing things like space, how we can just use the notes that are there but use less and make something, or some rests or some long notes to make something, and a bit of thematic development. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I enjoyed doing it, so I'm really hoping you'll enjoy it and that you'll go and get some music that you find very easy to play and just muck around with it using space, rests, long notes, thematic development even, you know, well, that's part of thematic development. Okay, enjoy. As we're going to start with our improvisational tune number 2. Never start on 1. No, just joking, but you know, like it seems appropriate for an improvisational course to start at 2. And we're going to discuss space and the different things that we can do this. So first of all, we're going to play a typical little tune that you might have in one of your books somewhere in about grade 2 or something like that. You might discover them in anthology books, that sort of thing. Have a listen. This is C minor and E flat. Okay, there we go. So now you're going to get those sorts of tunes in your music. Now you might like it, or your student might like it, or whatever. these are the places to go. We know that it's C minor, pure or harmonic, or E flat major, or any notes we just like. Now at the moment we had bum ba da bum ba da ba da 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 ba ba ba. Okay, that's all very nice, but if we played that with less notes, we could create something else like. Now I lost the left hand there because I was thinking, but don't worry about when you're improvising. In fact, I'm not going to cut many of my mistakes out of this. There will be some because we all get a bit like that. But in general, don't worry about your mistakes. You're improvising. You're exploring. You're painting the sound. So let's do that again. Let's do a little bit of something different. Less notes. Different rhythm, but in general just something new, something to play with. And so like if we come into this middle section here, we might decide to that's what it is. Now on the repeat, let's do something different. And then back into the other part, which we might do quicker. Now I went straight through the major third there. I said I was going to talk harmony, but it didn't work because it's minor key. So you just move off it onto the next one. You're only ever a semitone away from the right note. Don't let notes and harmony and that stuff concern you, particularly now that you're thinking about space. Now, Improv 1 is now Bertie based. These sorts of things exist a lot in your music. They're likeable, lovable pieces, and if you can figure out the key, which this one is just clearly an F all the way through, and a lot of them are very similar to that, 1 or 2 keys, or as I say, just find some notes that you like, you can start playing around with them. So what we'll do is, again, we'll play this first, and then we'll look about how we can use rests and long notes to create space. Anyway, here we go. Okay, I already started to muck around with it, but that's roughly the idea. Just at the end, I changed things a little differently. Here we have it. Now, this has got long notes in it already. Let's add some more. So instead here, we already have a difference. And we've got a bit of a theme going, so why not just keep those long notes going? Now it's improvisation, so we might do it again, add a chord. Long notes can change things completely, and they create space. Now, it's not just about creating your different ideas, but it's also about your audience. Space gives them a time to absorb the wonderful new chord or the wonderful new idea that you just put forward. If after that new idea that you just put forward, you play something else, that's what they'll listen to. So space is great. Space and concise playing gives the audience the opportunity to really hear what you've got to say, rather than just think, oh, that might have been nice. They think, oh, gosh, that was lovely. We are hoping, of course, you're trying to please yourself as well. So let's take this and do something different. So it's the third line. Now, what else could you do with that? Like long notes. long notes and rests to create space within your tunes. Now, sometimes you'll have a student or yourself will feel very happy playing all over the top of this and playing lots of notes. So I'll show you what I mean. So you might, for instance, eventually get in your soloing to kind of playing quite fast and quite, because you've been enjoying yourself. So away you go. Yeah. You've probably been round once or twice. Even the wrong chord doesn't matter. So you've been going for it. Taking less out of that note, and when you do that, that makes that a really lovely lift, and because you haven't played anything after it, so they're still up there, and then bring them down. And then of course play the wrong chord at the end, but you just resolve it, come out. Again, you're only a step away from the right stuff. The value of concise playing, I'm using my notes to help me get all my points across, but the value of concise playing is very similar to the value of concise speech. When you don't use too many words or you don't use too many notes, there is a very good chance that people understand what you said. And the other is that when you do use too many notes or too many words, people spill it all and they lose interest. So we're thinking about our audience, we're thinking about telling our story, and therefore we want to be concise in how we say something to keep their interest. Eking out a line is very, very valuable. So this is what we're going to do now. Now, one of the very first tunes in this book of mine, High Tide Garden, which I absolutely love because I wrote it myself and all that wonderful stuff, right, is Blitz. Now, Blitz was going for a long time before I got it to this point, and I used to play it a lot, and it actually came from a part that's right at the very back of it. What bar 36, 37, 38, 30, no, bar 39, and it's only a 2-page piece, so it's right towards the end, almost the climax of the piece, if you will, and it goes like this. And then back into it. Now that part, what is it? It just stuck in my head. That was the really big thing that I liked about this piece and where I was working to. It originated right up front. And of course, it's the end. It's a complete release. It's the climax statement and all that type of stuff. So have a listen to this in the soloing, how it developed an idea that comes first, that sets you up for this. But it's based on the same harmony. So... hear at the end of it how it's totally similar, but it's the same chords. Now this particular chord progression, it's all just F, right? But have a listen, this is the chord progression, and you can do all sorts of things. So if you're doing it in the beginning, you might just, of your solo, you might just have a little bit. And if you've been there for a while and you've been playing with it heaps, you might just be going for it over the same progression. It doesn't really matter. So towards the end of the piece, you might be... So the thing is here, thematic development. It's not so much, in fact, when you say thematic development, doesn't that sound hard? It's not meant to be hard. So think of it this way. You got a great idea, don't tell it to them straight away. Eke it out, little bit by little bit. This line is actually, and all we gave them was to start with, but we built them up to it. And we're always thinking we're telling a story. And you don't give them the punchline at the beginning of the story because then they won't read the rest of it. Anyway, so that's what we're kind of thinking about with our space. Space is a very, very useful tool of making much, much more out of everything that you're playing, because you can drop stuff out, you can put long notes in it, you can change it with that sort of stuff without having to come up with new lines, new chords, new ideas. Okay, so go for the space idea. Perhaps download the tunes that I've got there. Just look through your music. You can find them anywhere and enjoy. Anyway, I'm going to finish this off with a version of the very end of Bliss with a bit of solo and just blow it out. Just to finish off and thinking about what space can do for us. This may not have as much space as I should. However, I've been enjoying myself, so let's have a bit of fun on this tune. Okay, now go and have some fun with some tunes you know. All this one, there's plenty of things you can download. You can get these pieces off links. Thank you for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I will see you next time when we discuss the next underrated improvisational tool. It's not underrated really, it's just forgotten about at times. Dynamics. See you soon.